Hello everyone, and a warm welcome to Downing Place Church and to this lunchtime concert given by Simeon Walker, piano, Jane Bauer and Alan Revill, live illustrations and readings. The concert is entitled The Art of Hope, Drawings and Music for Christian Aid, which is this church's special cause for this month, details of which you can find in your programs. Half of the retiring collection will be for Christian Aid, and the rest will be put towards the cost of arranging these concerts. For those of you who might want to give electronically, I'll be standing by that door over there with a card reader. After the concert, you're warmly invited to stay for tea and coffee, available in the hub, again through these doors here. Toilets are situated in the far right-hand corner of this room, or again, through in the hub. Meanwhile, if you should hear the fire alarm go off, it will be for real, so please evacuate the building via the door you came in or via this door and gather on the grass on the other side of Downing Place. Please don't make any sound or video recording of the concert unless you have had prior permission from the performers. After the concert, at the door just here, Jane Bauer will be signing and selling copies of her book, an award-winning story for children and adults, illustrated by her father, and she will be donating 30% of the proceeds to Christian Aid. To allow the concert to flow, the performers have asked that any applause is reserved for the very end. Now, please switch off or mute your mobile devices and join me in welcoming the performers to the platform.
Your soul is your compass, and now is where we are. She nudges me awake. Welcome to hope, she sings to me. Welcome to hope. Get up, get up, get up. Hope is here, and love knows we have so much to do. If you were writing a dictionary and you came to the word drawing, or to draw, I wonder what you'd put as a definition. Well, that's the question that for many decades and in many places I put to the people sitting in front of me, whether those people were classed as infants, middle-aged, or senior citizens. I had come to understand that when teaching the arts, be it poetry, dance, ceramics, textiles, or drawing, the first thing I had to do to help people learn was to help them to unlearn. To unlearn all that they had been conditioned to preconceive, to unlearn all their misunderstandings, to unlearn their rooted belief that I can't draw, to unlearn their fears and insecurities. Fears and insecurities that Alan and I are prepared to bet that a large number of you share when it comes to drawing. So many people we met felt threatened by what these two friendly, gentle art teachers might ask them to do. And so I would begin with them with the unexpected, asking them to define drawing for their dictionary. What did they think we were going to do? And ideally, I'd love to ask that question now and get your answers, but time doesn't permit it. But I got used to receiving answers like, drawing is creating a representation of something. To draw is to produce an image with a pencil and paper, and so on. Now, I took great delight in decimating these definitions. Does a drawing always have to represent something? Do you always have to use pencil and paper? And gradually, we honed the definition to its real truth. To draw, you need two things. Anybody tell me what you need to draw? Two things. Imagination is very important, but it's not utterly essential to draw. Observation, you need perhaps you need to be able to see, or do you? Can you draw without observation? You need an idea. Supposing you don't have any ideas, what do you do to draw, Zoe? You need yourself, very important, but I need two more things, please. Now stop being so highfalutin and just be basic. What do I need to draw? Sorry, I've got two people going on. Get a cup for that lady, silver preferably, something to draw on and something to draw with. Okay, so we could go on discussing, but just to be quick, you need a drawing tool and a drawing surface. Okay? So, we're going to stick with paper and pen today for our purposes, but it could be any surface, a piece of wood, a stretch of sand at the beach, any surface. And it could be a variety of tools, from your finger to anything you see on the table here. So what do you do with the drawing tool on the surface? Say it again. Yes, I could show them, but I'd rather get your answer. Yes, perfect. You make a mark, okay. So drawing is making marks with a tool on a surface. So is writing, of course, because writing is a form of drawing. We're going to hear Simeon play a piece called Letters while we make marks for you.
Oh, sorry. Making marks with a tool on a surface is a human instinct. Cave people drew, babies draw. And you can look and they hold and keep hold of a tool. They move the tool and also maintain contact with it on the surface. It's an amazing skill that they take joy in. We rightly praise their efforts. We don't say that's useless. So why is it by the age of 7 do we label our own mark making as rubbish? We're useless. I can't draw. Probably because we try to run before we can walk. We don't start learning about logarithms before we can add. Draw a wiggle is non-threatening. Draw a cat, it can be. So our next question, how many types of mark can you make? How many types of mark is it possible to make? How many?
Any guesses on that one?
How many guesses? Sorry?
Right, we're having difficulty hearing.
Oh. Right. All right. How many marks is it possible to make on a surface?
How many types of mark?
Types of mark.
Anybody
No.
try that?
No. 2. 2, that's all. Lines and dots. Every drawing in the world is made up of lines and dots. And you think, what about colouring in? Lines. Whichever way you do it, it's lines and dots. So, hope starts small and should do. Some join us on this unlearning journey. So, join us on this unlearning journey. Wipe clean the slate. Let go of preconceived ideas. Let's make marks of hope. Okay.
We all know that a blank piece of paper is very threatening, or can be, when you're starting to do something. Whether you're a musician, an artist, or a writer. Write whatever you like is not a helpful instruction. As with hope, we need a starting point, a little seed that we can believe in. Rather like 80 years ago, when Douglas Lister, an army chaplain, dared to believe that he could help 80,000 refugees. And we still have Christian Aid today. Now, this next exercise was taught to me by my father, and I call it mustard seed or camouflage drawing. So in this envelope, I keep lots of little tiny snippets, which are cut up pieces of a drawing made by somebody other than myself. And I have glued one of these little snippets onto a small piece of paper here. And what I'm going to do is take that as my little seed of hope, my little starting point. Using somebody else's marks rather than marks made by myself means that I'm expanding my mark-making repertoire. We all have a safe mark-making repertoire. You know, the doodles that you do while you're on the phone. So, Alan, do you want to show the doodle that you always do? And I'll do mine. Off we go. Okay. Everybody has them. But if you're confronted with this, these are marks that are unfamiliar to me. They're not mine. So I'm going to take those as my starting point, and I'm just going to, first of all, extend any lines that the scissors have cut through. Here's one, for example. It looks as though if the scissors hadn't cut that paper, it was going to go here. And on one side, I notice it's thinner than the other. There's another example here. This one seems to be getting thicker as it goes along. And this one's a big sort of block here. So I'm going to just start imitating and extending the marks that I can see. Now, because that would take me a little while, I've got one that's been completed up to that stage. So here's the little snippet in the middle, and all the lines that I can see on it, I've pulled out to the edges. But we can go further with that, start imitating the little marks that we can see in there. I can see some little sort of almost like hairs there. So if I start sprinkling those around as well, what you start to do is by imitating, you are camouflaging the original piece in the middle. And if we went on and on and on doing that, it would gradually be more difficult to discern where the original starting point had been. Now, what we'd really love is we'd love 2 or 3 people to some beautiful music from our pianist to just come up here and work with us. You'll be hidden back here. And we're going to give you a little snippet like this and just help you extend those marks. Anybody feeling brave? Start us off. 2 or 3 people to come up. Thank you, madam. Anybody else? Thank you, Anne. Come forward. Okay, we've got one more seat if anybody would like to. Okay. Thank you, you two. Come and sit down. That's great. And Alan's going to help you while I continue my drawing. Thank you, Simeon. Well, thank you very much. Would you like to just let us see what you've been making? Thank you. So if you look at the marks here, you can see that there is a confidence in them that wouldn't be there if the snippet of paper had not been there. If I'd given these ladies just a blank sheet of paper, it's unlikely that they would have made those marks. Those marks come from the little snippet. It wouldn't have been the same if I'd given them a piece of blank paper and said, no, maybe you could both draw us a cat. It was, what if it's not good enough sort of thing. So the confidence comes from that tiny starting point. Does anybody know who these original marks might have been made by? Any guesses? Confident, bold. Well, here's the original drawing. Okay. That's Van Gogh's original sketch for his painting The Bedroom at Arles, which I've snipped into pieces. Now, that's my chosen way of introducing the art of Van Gogh to young children. So much better than saying, today, children, our learning objective is to explore the art of a tragic Dutchman. So, while Simeon plays, I'm going to show you some finished examples. First, one of my own, and then several double ones by 6-year-olds. They're unfinished. And lastly, by Sandra. Sandra arrived at my adult art session tearful, very nervous, shaky, saying, before we start, I just want you to know that I'm going to be the worst pupil you've ever taught in your life. Sit down, Sandra. I started her off with this mustard seed idea, and she took it home to finish. So at the end of the piece, you'll see Sandra's work. Meanwhile, thank you so much. Would you like to sit down? Thank you. Okay.
Hope has holes in its pockets. It leaves little crumb trails. So that we, when curious, can follow it. Hope's secret. It doesn't know the destination. It knows only that all roads begin with one foot in front of the other.
Now, I wonder how many of you recognize this drawing method. So we've got a couple of objects here. We've seen this time and again in our classes. You ready? Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay. Okay, so what we're demonstrating here is that we are looking at the object in front of us for 20% of our time, and we're looking at our own attempt to draw it for 80% of the time, and then we say, this doesn't look like that. The result is what we call hairy hesitation lines. How about if we looked at the object for 80% of the time and at our own effort for 20%? You can try that at home. You look for longer than feels comfortable, and then you draw for shorter than feels comfortable. The remarkable American drawing tutor, Betty Edwards, whose intensive drawing courses for non-drawing adults produce the most astounding results, takes this idea even further. She says, what if we didn't look at our drawing at all? And she deliberately gives her students very complex things to draw, which are full of detail, such as a tightly crumpled piece of paper full of creases, or their own hand, a notoriously difficult thing to draw. They groan in horror, but she turns the rules upside down. Don't look at your drawing, she says. Not once. Look only at the object. So this is what she's talking about. Now, she does this for hours on end. We won't do that today. This way, there are no expectations of accuracy in your drawing, because you're not trying to make a drawing of your hand. Instead, you are recording every minute detail that you see in any order, anywhere on the surface. You are intensely observing. The drawing result takes second place. So, please, could I have 2 volunteers to come and make marks without looking at the paper? Can I persuade anyone to come and do this? Thank you so much. Anybody else come and join this noble volunteer? We will help you, of course. I might have to pick somebody's name if you don't volunteer. Yes. Thank you, Zoe. Do come up. So Alan's going to draw his hand, or what he can see of his hand.
Come here.
Without once looking at the paper, and we will do the same here.
Right, strike a pose.
Okay. Thank you. Come and sit down. That's it. Sit here. so much. Do you want to go and take your seats? Thank you. So again, we can see here that the results are bolder than they would have been if I had said, draw your hand, get this hairy hesitation line, help, mine won't look like a hand. The confidence in these marks is purely because those artists were not looking at their own work. So we have drawn without seeing our drawing. What if we draw without seeing what we are drawing? This is another example of turning the tables on what we expect. By placing an unseen object in someone's hands, they are able to explore and imagine it, drawing what they feel rather than what they see. And again, we'd love a couple of volunteers. We're going to put something in your hand. It's something nice. It's not a live worm or anything of that description. And we're going to ask you to put your hand behind your back, feel the object, and see if you can draw it. Can we have a couple of people to do that? Done very well so far. Thank you very much, Stephen. Somebody accompany Stephen. Thanks, Judith. Thank you. Have a seat here, and Alan is hiding what he's going to place in your hand. He's also going to place something in mine, and I will do my best to interpret it. So this is not musical chairs. You don't have to stop when the music stops. You can stop whenever you like. You can draw it more than once, whatever you like, but please don't look at whatever it is that Alan's put in your hand. So Alan, could I have an object as well, please? Cute. Oh. Excellent. Yes, do look at what you've been given. Brilliant. And bring the object and the drawing. Let's see. Have we got the objects as well?
Yes.
Thank you both so much. Have a seat. Thank you.
And this is this one.
Easier when you don't see what you're drawing, isn't it? This flicker of hope I see. This warming of the edges of my heart I feel. Stealthily, it creeps towards me. Like one would to a bed, for fear of waking a sleeping child. And just when I thought it didn't see me, hope says, I see you.
Remember those hairy hesitation lines mentioned earlier? How do we break this very common habit? One way is to simply ban the action of repeatedly ending the lines. Stay connected. Draw the object, but without ever taking the drawing tool from the surface. It's rather like taking that first ride in a new car. Scary, but freeing. Looking back, my little 6-year-old class were told to take this line of attack, if you like, but were simply given the instruction, put your pencil, pen, whatever on the paper, take it for a walk, wherever you want, on the surface. And as soon as they started moving, smiles came. This was so unthreatening. And with that movement, they added sounds, little whistles, and they were enjoying it, quite evidently, and the smiles came. And I always remember it because there was a line going through my head, penned by P.E. Dixon, who was an educationalist, who simply wrote, "There is so much of the autumn and the winter. Let our children not miss their spring."
So Simeon is going to give us a short piece, and you can choose, or we will choose, between one of these natural forms. We're just going to demonstrate for you first, and then see if we can get some volunteers. So first, without the music. So what are you going to draw, Alan? You're going to go for that?
Whoa.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Fine.
So quickly and rapidly, we're not going to take our pencil or tool off the surface. So off we go. So every mistake I'm making, and there are many, I can just correct by continuing to mark make. Can then colour in any bits I want to do, all without taking the tool off the surface. Okay. 2 volunteers, please, and this is the last drawing we're doing, so if you're really wishing you'd come up before, now's your chance. 2 more people. It's only 30 seconds, and if nobody volunteers, I have 2 names in mind that I'm going to call out, so you better volunteer now. All right, I'm going to ask Tim and Judy to come out and do this. Okay, so I've put you some objects there. Sit wherever you like, and we're only going to have about 30 seconds or so. Or actually a little longer than that, I think, but stop when you've had enough. And let's see what happens. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, both of you. Tim says he cheated, but we'll pretend we didn't hear that. Okay. It's so easy to take your pen off the paper without meaning to. So again, have a look at the boldness of these compared to what they might have been like if I'd said, right, can you draw that shell? Because you cannot take the tool off the surface, the marks are more confident. Thank you so much. Dr. Ed Munn is a remarkable and unique continuous line artist. His drawings are known as one-liner images, or OLIs. And I've been using his work to show students for years, and have only just discovered this month that he lives locally. I contacted him and asked his permission to show his work today. I'd just like to check, Ed, are you with us today? I don't think he is, but I'd hate to miss him if he was able to come. Ed Munn says of his work, I want to make clear that although a one-liner image, when finished, consists of a single continuous line, I don't draw them continuously. The analogy I use is of a railway track that is continuous when complete, but constructed from short sections. The complex drawings often take many days to complete. I designed the logo for the Faraday Institute of Science and Religion, and beginning with an invitation from Pat Heap, who many of us remember, at Mill Road Baptist Church, I have exhibited in churches locally, including Downing Place, but also in Victoria, in Vancouver Island. Since my drawn lines never cross each other, if stretched out all my one-liner images could be formed into circles, huge circles in some cases. So in fact, they are folded circles, and despite appearances, they're all on white paper. So what Ed does is he draws a line, then travels back beside it, leaving a tiny space between, which later he colours in. So I'm going to show you some of these astounding one-line drawings while Simeon plays to us.
Sometimes things don't go after all, from bad to worse. Some years, muscadel faces down frost. Green thrives. The crops don't fail. Sometimes a man aims high and all goes well. A people sometimes will step back from war, elect an honest man, decide they care enough, that they can't leave some stranger poor. Some men become what they were born for. Sometimes our best intentions do not go amiss. Sometimes we do as we meant to. The sun will sometimes melt a field of sorrow that seemed hard, frozen. May it happen for you.
Unite in hope with us. For 80 years, Christian Aid has been fighting poverty and injustice. With the generous backing of churches like yours, we've been able to offer support to communities in crisis. Over 8 decades, we've harnessed something formidable, the unstoppable power of hope. And right now, we need it more than ever. This Christian Aid Week, join us to bear witness to the unstoppable power of hope.